This episode is sponsored by SmartVestor. Connect with an investing pro for free at RamseySolutions.com/invest. You're listening to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires, where we talk investing, retirement, building wealth, and outrageous generosity.
Jordan is in Columbia, Missouri. Hi, Jordan. How are you?
I'm good, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
My burning question is that I'm getting married here shortly. I've got a good chunk of cash saved up. We're looking at getting into the real estate market, but we'd like to know before we start having kids what the lowest risk method is for what we have in front of us.
You're talking about your home or a rental property?
Rental, building spec, and sell. It's a toss-up in the air. I'd really like to know kind of what the best...
But you own a home that you live in?
We are actually currently building a house that we're about to start living in.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. And is it paid for?
We're going to have about a $40,000 note. The rest we paid in cash.
Good. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is pay that off.
Okay.
Okay. Now, then when I've done that, then what type of real estate? Now, there's real estate investing, which is a buy and keep it idea. And then there's real estate speculation, which is why they call them spec homes. If you're building a spec home, it's a speculation that you can sell it. It's a short-term play. It's not a long-term play. It is speculation. Flipping houses is speculation. And both are high risk because obviously if you pay cash for them, it's not as much risk. But if you pay cash for a house, fix it up and flip it, if it doesn't flip, at least you're sitting there with a paid-for house, right? You figure it out. You could rent it or do something else. But you need to separate the mentality of what is the lowest risk. The lowest risk is a buy-and-hold strategy because real estate goes up over time. When you have to sell that spec house or your money's sitting there burning taxes, property taxes, it's burning insurance, even if you don't have a note on it, it's sitting there burning money until you sell it, whether it's a flip or an actual build of a spec house. But that's speculating is short-term. Investing is long-term. Now, when you go to investing, probably the entry point would be a good home, single-family home in a solid neighborhood. Not super expensive, but also not trashy.
Okay.
That's the lowest risk.
Okay. Okay. Can I ask you this as well?
Sure.
So where we live, there is a lot of inflating house prices, if you must. So there's not a whole lot in the market below the $250,000 range, probably within a 15 to 30 mile radius. And so with that, I actually work for a builder. And so one of the initiatives that they've talked about, but I'd really like to do is maybe build a cheap speculation home to sell to a lower income family, simply because I have the high confidence that it would sell quickly, just because there's nothing really in the market for it. Okay. What's your thoughts?
That's just it's just a side hustle. It's not an investment.
Okay.
It's just your side hustle is you're building houses that you flip. Okay.
Gotcha.
And that's not bad if you're paying cash for it. And if you've analyzed and said, okay, what are all the downsides? So what happens, and you got to be able to answer this question and not throw up, what happens if this house doesn't sell for a year after you finish it?
Spend a lot of money.
Okay. I'm just saying, you got to be ready for that, because I don't know. Right. I don't know what's going to happen. And I think you probably do know the market. You're probably right. In most markets in America, if you build something less than the median house price in the area, you have a very marketable property, because entry-level properties are just non-existent. They're very hard to find. And so whatever the median price is, and you said in your area it sounds like it's $250 then there. So if you build something in that 150 range that's a nice little home, man, it'll probably go fast.
Yeah.
I walked through one that's about let me think how far. It's probably 80 miles or something like that outside of Nashville. So it's out in the country. Okay. Down there, one of my lake houses, there's a guy building a house on the corner up there, and I walked it one day, and he was in there, and I walked it with him. I was like, wow, this is a nice little, it's a 1,750-foot little three-bedroom, bath and a half, two-car garage, and not super fancy, but it was well built. Nice little a little brick and siding house, right? And it was $188,000. It was unbelievable. I thought, wow, this is like all these people out here. You can't buy it. Well, yeah, you can't. But I mean, it's out there. It's out in the country. It's not. And where you are, you're probably in a similar feel. In the Columbia. Columbia's not a huge town, and there's a whole bunch of Columbia-esque sized towns around you. But you got to get all the way to St. Louis or Kansas City or even Jeff City before you get to a major town, right?
Right.
And so you got a lot of rural rings around you, if you will, that could fall like that little house I'm talking about. But that was a sweet little house and not a bad, I mean, I'm thinking a young couple coming in there or somebody wanting to downsize. It's brand new everything, of course, dishwashers and all that stuff. And it's like, God, man, I could have lived there easy when we first got married and called that a palace, But again, it's freaking hour and a half or more to Nashville. So, and in this area, that's considered a crazy commute. So, but my point is that if you get below that median house price, and that house sold, I mean, before he broke ground on it, probably. I mean, he sold that thing so fast. But that's a great place in the marketplace. So I think what you're talking about makes sense, is my point. But I'm not an expert on your particular market. But that's a good place to be. If you told me you wanted to build $1 million houses in a 250 market as spec, I'd tell you don't do it. Because you're going to end up with $1 million sitting there, but that's not what you're talking about. So,
do you have a temperature for him, whether it be renovate something or build something brand new in that?
He's
space?
in the home building business. He's got the itch. He's going to build.
Right.
He's going to do it.
I think you're right. Is there any risk?
I would tell most people not to do it, but he's in the business.
I agree. And to your point, at that price range, I would imagine they're going to have a lot of people trying to get in that house if he builds it at the right price.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, there'll be a line around the block, I suspect. Yeah. So that's the point is, it's not really starter housing, but it's anything below the median price point.
Yeah.
The median meaning middle. Okay, the middle of your market. The median house price nationally right now, I think, is it's bumping up close to 400. And so forever, what's it saying?
It says 394.
Oh, there we go. Almost like I knew what I was talking about. Who knew?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Okay. So let's call it 400. Yeah.
Oh, that was the listing price. The median sold price was $288 in Columbia as of April.
Oh, no, that's Columbia.
Columbia, Missouri.
Oh, I was talking about nationally.
Oh, sorry. I was pulling up his area.
Yeah, nationally would be over 400. Okay.
Yes.
All right, I'm probably wrong.
Sorry, I went to Columbia.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Good place to go.
Thanks for listening to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires. Need help with your investments? Connect with a SmartVestor Pro at RamseySolutions.com/invest or click the link in the show notes. Ramsey Solutions is a paid non-client promoter of participating pros. Learn more at RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor.